Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to ULTI.TV's coverage of Vienna Spring Break 2023. The rain has not dampened our spirits as we are into the last game of the weekend. It's the women's final with East Bloc from the Czech Republic taking on the defending champions and hometown heroines of box from right here in Vienna. It's Benji Rees with you for this last game of the weekend, and there's no one I'd rather be chopping it up with than Christina Obermeier.
Hey Benji, hey everyone, I'm really excited to showcase this women's final here, especially since my home team is in it again, the reigning champions of Vienna Spring Break, Box Vienna Ultimate, taking on East Bloc, who have been running through this tournament as they start on offense here.
One-to-one defense from the Austrians. Tlusta coming underneath. Looking for an option downfield. Not really seeing one that she likes, though, so just going to recycle it out towards the far side. East Bloc in the blue, Box in the white. That is a pick, so it's going to go back into the hands of the number 78, Teresa Haveltsova. Just check back in by Wolfsteiner. Going to ground, but does secure it, Haveltsova. Swing available, doesn't want it on this occasion. Just going back into the backfield. Austrians done very well to force East Bloc back. Tlusta coming underneath. Wants to run a little give-go. Doesn't see it, so goes, charges off deep. This is going to float a little bit. It's going to be dangerous. Nice box out. Well reeled in there by Herschlova. Little inside channel opens up. I thought that deep hook could have gone, but Svetova just thinks a little better of it on this occasion. Still count rising. Finds that release valve at Stolejalova. Lovely little shapely inside break towards the end zone. Oh, this is going to float too far, and East Bloc were magnificent until that final pass.
Yeah, good pressure on Box's side to prevent them from getting into a flow. I think they did really well on defense, and they deserve that opportunity to get a break on the first time of asking.
They really slowed down this East Bloc offense that, when it gets going, can be so tricky to stop. Helen Terra, the Estonian, now based in Vienna, key part of this Box squad. Rosensteiner, been very impressed with her play this weekend, finds Wolfsteiner. The tighted Terra. Finds an option underneath towards the far side. Strida. Can she find a way off the line? Just going to dish it slightly further in forward to Paschinger. Now Kramer. Wants to find a way to get it off the line, but that cut's marked out. Still count ticking up high past the bid. Both players on the floor. Foul called.
Yeah, there was a lot of contact from the back towards the disc, and there was a body underneath it of a Box player, and I think they do agree on this being a foul.
Yeah, accepted foul by Shvetsova. So disc is in Rottensteiner's possession. Swinging around the back. Oh, that's got a bit too much float in it as well, and just enough of a tip there from, I think, Elena Dolejalova to give the disc back to East Bloc.
I like that Box switched the side after moving it up the sidelines for such a long time, but in the end just couldn't keep the composure and wait for the disc to land in the end zone.
3-4 setup. Downfield. Looks like they're going to transition now into a vertical set. Although at the moment it's just kind of clustered and congealed in the center. Taking that wide swing. Herschlova opens up the arm, looking for the tiny Tlusta, but she's got such fleetness of foot that she covers the ground easily in front of Terra and then continues into the end zone for Dolejalova. And it's 1-0 to East Bloc.
Box really pushed them on that first possession, but you can see at the business end of this point, East Bloc just had a little more legs, like more in their legs to finish that point off. I would have liked to see a switch there, but miscommunication between the two defenders gives East Block a hold.
East Block undefeated so far this weekend, as indeed our Box. 4 pools of 3 in the women's division. For East Block, they dispatched a catch-up and Swarm in the pools. For Box, Scram and local rivals Mantis. Into the quarterfinals, East Block won an all-check affair over 3SB 15-10. For Box, they dispatched Sick. Tight game that one, 15-13. But both teams, again, wins this morning, but in different fashions. Box, as you saw in the game that we streamed, absolutely smashed Troubles, but for East Block, a huge win for them over the Swiss national team. That's a nicely set up isolation there to Kuhn. Vegert. Low and just never quite got the hands right, and it bobbles in and out of the grasp of Meyer. The Czechs, as they often want to do, picking up quickly, this time with Janska. And just, I think, looking downfield, well, Terova sees it bounce out of her grasp.
I would have loved to see that from the Box side as well, to pick it up quickly and try to go a one-on-one, get a one-on-one situation in the end zone. Schnedel into Atuzio in front of the end zone. Back to Schnedel.
Can they find a way to get this disc in? Schnedel onto the end zone line for Seiler. Part of the Austrian U24 squad. Seiler swings wide, looks to get the continuation back up line, and Box punch it in for 1 apiece.
So not a clean hold, but a hold nonetheless for Box to make it 1-1.
Yeah, neither side flawless in the early going, but strong signs from both that we could be seeing a very fun offensive game. The turnovers have not necessarily been blocks, they've been, I think, more execution errors.
Absolutely, as the rain is, I think it's still raining a bit, but
it's certainly eased off a bit.
Yeah, not as much anymore.
I think the main issue might be just kind of keeping your footing on what I'm sure is the sodden grass.
Yeah, we saw one or the other slip, and we're going to see a lot more. If you know Vienna Spring Break's last final from a year ago.
I might remember it.
I know you called it, Benji, but I'm talking to people at home as well.
I know,
There's a slip and slide highlight video of Box doing all the funny things while losing their footing.
That one has enough float on it, and chased and hustled down there by Hirschlever. Hirschlever looking to continue into the end zone, a tall target there, and just plucks it nonchalantly out of the sky. Does Doležalova. Case of knowing your matchup there, I think.
Absolutely. Tall frame of Doležalova, jumping at the right moment, and nothing the defender could do, even though she had position in that situation. So clean hold.
Yeah, the first of the game for either side. Seeing it now on the low angle, just the up line, commits the body to it, picks herself up, and if you're not familiar with Czech Ultimate, the one thing you will learn very quickly is that they have no fear. There's no throw that they think, you know, maybe I won't take that on.
Nah, it doesn't happen. And that's how you get good, actually. Pushing through your fears and then throwing your body on the line regardless.
It's having that confidence to back what, you know, the clearly immense talent. Ball's going to bounce and roll. Slap to the floor, Seiler picks up. Centering pass to Meyer. Out wide here to Ninaus. And just enough pressure coming on that one from the backside from Mashkova. Kotrubova picks up. Low, snagged with that gloved left hand by Zitova. Now on the far side, putting a bit of air underneath it, into traffic. And East Block come down with it. Begin to go on the field to celebrate, and then just going to have a discussion here.
I actually thought Sauer, number 83, had the disc in her hand first from looking at it, but that was just an initial view that I got.
It was a bit of a fustercluck to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of people underneath that disc in the end zone, and we might get a replay on that here.
Again, just showing a bit of the underside there, and I think I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I think Zauer might have that first. Obviously, what we think is not important. It's about the players on the field coming to a resolution that they are happy with.
So they made strip uncontested, or accepted rather, and the turnover. So it seems like players on the field agree with our view here from the situation.
So box disc. I think they're also pointing out that, look, if that's the strip, then actually you have to keep possession.
Yeah.
Which is also true.
Absolutely right.
It does annoy me slightly that there's no difference in the hand signal for foul and strip, but...
Isn't there a suggestion of moving...
Potentially, as the first pass hits the floor, East Block, brilliant break opportunity this. But again, kind of muddled in the end zone. Resetting instead, Janska. Trying to use that inside channel, and just couldn't quite connect. In the end, Lepshi was closest, but not sure she was the intended target.
I think they're putting it out there to the break side and expect players to run underneath the disc, and if you're just a split second late, it's going to be really hard to catch up with that. I'm actually surprised they're struggling that much, because we saw some flawless games, but a flawless game of flawless offense between 3SB and East Block, as there's another bobble disc.
Yeah, Winter Artusio guilty that time. And there's the blade slung deep to the back of the end zone. Committed diving effort there from Katarzyna Janska. But again, another turnover. When East Block hit on these shots, they are unstoppable. But even if they don't hit, they're not necessarily the sort of team that's going to shy away from them.
That's fine. One will work out.
That's the thing. They have the confidence to back themselves that we'll just throw our way through it. And at any rate, you know, they've got to work the full length of the pitch in unfavourable conditions. We've been generating turns. This one on a high stall. That's a lovely blade to kind of release the pressure. Now Winter Artusio shooting it. This is going to have enough hang. Can she chase it down?
Oh.
Not quite. I think just losing a footing at the end was Freiman. But
what a beautiful shot. Put out into space, and it sat there for forever. It looked so far, too far, but Freiman running under that disc.
You can see she's trying to take longer strides as she gets to the end to try and increase the pace a little bit, and she just loses balance. East Block picking up again, and East Block banging it again. Ninaus was unsighted, but just had her body in the right place. Seiler will pick up. Oh, there's a hand there, but if you don't catch your D's, it opens the door. Mayer makes the catch. Steinhauser to Mayer again. In front, but securing it. Seiler underneath. Pivots around to get the break off, and now they're flowing towards the far side of the field. Winter Artusio, she knows that she got that one wrong.
She's been distributing those shots to perfection during the weekend, but now just off by a little bit.
Again, I wonder if that's the final jitters just affecting slightly.
She's wearing gloves.
Which, as we discussed in the previous live stream, are lame.
Oh.
If it helps you feel more comfortable, go for it. Obviously, on that occasion, just didn't quite come off. Again, with the stall count rising, why not play for a little bit of field position? And Lepshi had position downfield, but couldn't bring it in. Might be a call here. Accepted. So it is going to be an East Block disc still. It's a 3-on-3 break situation here. And they tell you what, they've got the deepest player by a couple of yards. Just to put it again. No, this time they're actually going to be a bit more circumspect with it. That slashing en passant cut comes through. The continuation to the end zone again is just a touch too much.
Winter Tuzio in position to contest that disc in the end zone. And she didn't have to do all that much because it was just too far out in front for a little bit. So Box advancing again.
They've given East Block a few chances, which so far they've not converted. That one is tipped, and that is going to be enough of a hand on it from Zaluska.
Was that her third defense, Zaluska?
She's been making her presence known. That one I did not think was a good option because Sila was sitting on that cut and did enough to disrupt the flow of the disc.
We're literally sitting there.
And Sila, having got the block, picks up, utilizes the angle of the pivot there to get that inside break off to under 24 teammate Ninaus. A little bit floaty, but not a problem for the taller receiver, Maya. Maya to Sila. Player's looking a little bit leggy out there. This point's dragged on somewhat. Tell you what, I see why they call her swaggy. That was stylish in the extreme. The knee sliding coming straight back up from Ninaus. Steinhauser taking advantage of the face mark to roll it around to Maya. Continuation, all that just maybe had a little extra sriracha on that sidearm, and it bounces out of Ninaus' grasp.
Seems like it.
And I think, given that this point's been a little bit of a grind fest about now, more grind than a New York coffee house almost. Although I guess Vienna's been pretty famous for its coffee shops throughout the years as well.
It indeed is.
We're going to take a little bit of a breather is the upshot of that. Don't go anywhere. This final continues on the other side.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
My mom and I made a cookbook. Traditional recipes passed down through the generations.
They cater very well to modern kitchens.
Our recipes come from all over Italy, primarily from Le Marche in Sicily, where my parents come from. Two of the best culinary regions.
All the regions of Italy have their own signature food.
Buying this book will make you smarter and better looking.
Mannaggia Stefano, just promote the book.
Just search Mama's Italian Classics anywhere you can buy books online and get your hands on a copy.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
That's how you find us on the socials, so make sure you're following, liking, subscribing to keep up with all our content. And hey, while you're here, why not throw a little bit of money our way via Patreon? For as little as the cost of a pint of beer or a baked potato a month, you can help grow the spread of Ultimate. I say that not because we've had jacket potatoes being brought on regular occasions to the booth this week. Who am I kidding?
We love those baked potatoes.
Thank you, baked potatoes indeed. Zaluska, resetting into the center to Mashkova. There's the deep shot. I think this one might be a little bit undercooked. And the defender was not going to take any chances. I think she got a touch on that as it was out, which I'm not sure she needed to.
Not sure either, but Freiman is actually a new addition. Has been playing for a few months only. So I don't think she's familiar with that particular
Yeah, maybe
ultimate.
just a slight lack of awareness, potentially.
it is pretty tricky, the in and out, and you know, where does the disc come in when?
But the first pass floats into the center. That's comfortable for Lepsi to pick off, and then a hand in there will just give it back to box. This is very different from the last games we streamed of these two teams, where they just seemed almost unstoppable. Low out in front, the bid just couldn't quite get there. Here's the run and gun style of East Block potentially, or just gonna pick it up and reset, give ourselves a chance to get back into position. That should be a nice gainer downfield. That's a really tough catch that's stuck there by Katarzyna Janska. Mashkova powers up line, couple of steps out of the end zone. Lepsi's looked off, wisely so. Here's the upline cut coming, and the upline cut punched into the hands of, I think, Kotrobova. And that is the first break of the game. It goes East Block's way. They lead box 3-1.
This point could have gone either way. So many turnovers, and as we have both mentioned before, these teams have been clinical on offense, and it just shows that their defense is one up from the other defenses those teams have faced so far.
I must admit that point had more swings than a metronome. But in the end, the tempo was right for East Block, and you see it here, just down the line. They clear up that front space at the corner of the end zone, and it allows Kotrobova to just steal a march on the defender, take that upline space, and take the game's first break. 3-1 to East Block. You were telling me, Christina, before the game started, that it's not the first time these two sides have met this season, even though they haven't seen each other so far this weekend.
Well, yeah. I don't love to talk about it, because it really just doesn't really reflect Box's performance this season, but we had a game in Padua where East Block won 15-4, 15-5 maybe.
Ouch.
So won by a lot, and we can see here they put pressure on.
And it's a dangerous floaty throw right through the middle of the field that's picked off by Stupkova, but then she can't connect on the dump.
So
Bobankova with the drop, and it's back to box.
Yeah, Box slow to pick up, making sure their offense is set.
Pashinga. Oh, unsighted, and somehow they snuck that in, and Helen Terra come off it. The adjustment behind her, reaching out, and that is not going to be how Box drew it up, but it will count all the same.
Well, I think that's exactly what we wanted to do, get it off quickly and score. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, that was pretty amazing work from both Kramer and Terra to keep that possession alive, the disc in their hands.
And look, at various points we've praised being, you know, heads up to collect those second effort grabs, or just have an awareness of what's going on around you. And that time, I just think a slight lack of that from the Czech defender, because she sees it late and somehow it just sticks right on Kramer. And again, really good late reaction adjustment on that catch.
Absolutely.
From Helen Terra.
Catching from behind. And also, I think that disc was not the way Pashinga intended it to. I do think that Terra was the target on that throw, but not through Kramer, let's say it like that.
Those of you who watched our coverage of the European Ultimate Indoor Championships back in Lithuania in December will be, if you weren't familiar with Helen Terra already from all her work throughout the club season over the years, will know that she is the goddamn truth. Here's Talista, who's no slouch herself, and you can see a big arm, but that time just overshot Dolejalova.
So, do you think we should know Helen Terra without knowing her? Like, we should know who she is? She's a player who one should know?
I think so.
I'd agree. Also a lovely human.
I have heard that, actually.
Great person.
Schneider Low throw, but Seiler keeps it alive. Trying to squeeze that one down the line for Schneider. Overcooked. Toulousa's there to pick up the pieces. Trying to marshal the show on offense. Herschlova. Haveltsova. Back to Zorizalova. Runs a little 1-2. Haveltsova has it in her clutches now, a couple of yards outside the end zone. That time they mark out the up line space better, but squared up brilliantly. Got that wonderful pivot around to crack things open, get the disc in the middle of the field. Give yourself both sides to attack, but that's not going to do it. The throw's a little bit behind. Countable for Vegert. Schnedel now. Ooh, tell you what, that could have gone like with a little tangle of feet, got nasty, but she did really well to retain possession there, did Freiman. And that's just a straight run through. Tara puts her hands up in acknowledgement that, yeah, I slowed down, I shouldn't have done, and she got her pocket picked.
Yeah, I do think she knows better, but just probably didn't react in time.
Hadovar gets it off the line and can't quite get it back in her grasp.
Picking it up quickly now, our box.
Seiler pivoting this way and that. Going round, squeezes it into Nienaus. Back to Schnedel. Schnedel gets point blocked emphatically by Teresa Haveltsova.
Wow, what a block. Just jumps in there. She thought she had that lane open, but smacking that disc.
An almost preternatural sense there of what Schnedel wanted. And Haveltsova just beat it away. And Haveltsova has it in her hands now. Tlusta, just shy of midfield. Now they get across it to Herschlova. Herschlova's going to open up the arm. That's got the wrong edge on it. East Bloc have not been at their best, and I think you have to credit the Bucks defense partially for this, because they're threatening release points, they're tight on forces, they're not letting them have it easy.
I absolutely agree. East Bloc it feels like they have this sense of urgency. And they don't actually need to. Of course there's pressure, and that's what stresses them so much, but I don't think there's as much pressure as they are feeling right now.
Yeah, they are a side that naturally plays with pace, and when it works, it can be so devastating. But sometimes it can work against you. Just need to slow the tempo ever so slightly. Seiler running some dominator in the backfield with Schnedel. What a layout that is from Seiler. Certainly one to watch. Doležalova can't get quite the wrong side. Again, Seiler and Schnedel just happily working it between each other in the backfield. Now Vegert and the drop from Tara.
Tara having a bit of an off point after the amazing catch she had before.
Everybody's human.
Yeah, and it's always the easy ones that are sometimes the hardest. Easy catches, that is.
It's counterintuitive, but it does seem to ring true, doesn't it? Doležalova. The shake and bake up line there from Haveltsova. Looking at the end zone. Shooter's going to shoot. Can she keep it into the back of the end zone? She can. Herschlova with the goal to make it 4-2.
Good offensive point there from East Bloc. It was rushed at times, but again, in the business, and I feel like I've said that before, East Bloc can use that flow they create while going down the field really to their advantage with one or the other of the line pass that gets looked off, and you know, there you go, point.
Obviously East Bloc put it in, but Box, they're generating a fair few turnovers, and that's something that very few teams, if any, have really been able to do this weekend on East Bloc.
You're absolutely right. We know the Swiss national team came back a little bit at the end, but nothing to stop those beautiful hacks as we see the replay here.
Here's the pull from Kotrubova. It's a roller out of the far sideline. Schnedel's just going to pat it to the floor. Looks like Pashinga's going to be designated with picking it up.
Pashinger had an amazing game in the semi-final.
Rostensteiner and Wolfsteiner in the backfield with her for company. Oh, another tip on it. Wolfsteiner couldn't quite rescue it. Mashkova this time getting funky on the force to get the block. Kotrubova picking up, looking for another break. About 2/3 of the way down the field already. Not really seeing anything there. Still count must be rising. Floating it up into space. And a hand on it, but it just tips it into the hands of East Block. Lepshi's on the end zone line and punched into Stupkova. You could call it lucky. I think East Block might say they made their own luck.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't agree.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Lucky just gives you some satisfaction at times. I do think that they'd be really happy about.
They forced a high stall throw. It was high, but one of those that will give people a chance at it. You never know what might happen. Brilliant block on the force, by the way, there from Mashkova. Lovely reaction time, and you can see the stalls rising. Kotrubova thinks, you know what, I'll put it up. I'll give someone a chance. It's just tipped round the corner there by Strida. And right place, right time for East Block. We've got a receiver in behind to gleefully pick up the trash, and then a couple of passes later, and they're in for another break.
We've done trying to get a foot block, but that disc comes out anyway. And it's 5-2 in favor of East Block. I do think that's how it started back in Padua. So I would really love for Bax to not be frustrated, but to just get that next point. And East Block, I do think with the power they display here on the field, and we can feel it all in even watching, it's really hard to get the better of them here.
Schnedel in the backfield. Looking for options downfield, but not really seeing much that she likes. Out to Ninaus, casual catch there. Downfield for Schnedel, who gets the right side of the defender. Stupkova. Maya. Likes the upline cut of Ninaus. This might have a little bit too much float on it. It's caught, but not quite in the end zone yet. Ninaus wants to get this off the line somewhat. Finds Maya. Is there the continuation? Not quite. Oh, lovely little inside throw there. Finds that channel, exploits it beautifully, but not for the second time. Laying out to get the block there is Janska.
Feels like now Box are forcing it into the end zone, where Ninos did not have to take that throw into this really tiny window. She could have waited for another reset and then gotten around again.
And if you want to hit that space, then putting it through that channel where you might invite defenders might not be the option. Maybe a hammer to lead her over to the weak side a bit more. I know, Benchy calling for overheads. What a shock.
Since the rain is gone, or less.
There's a stoppage.
I was just stopped by the stoppage watching what happens. So there's less rain, so I'm absolutely pro on that hammer.
Bonk. Obviously, don't have a microphone out there, so we're not quite privy to the discussions.
Accepted foul.
Checked in and ripped deep. What a put that is. Bang on the money to Stupkova. More players streaking deep. This time going to reset it into the backfield. To the very wintry looking, I must say, Janska.
It's not particularly warm, is it?
Janska, oh, nearly judged that right. But Vegard with a big hand to slap it away.
Yeah, good read on that disc. 2 box players underneath the flight path of that disc and got the right timing on it. This Vegard.
Winter Artusio fakes the first one. Underneath to Vega, having got that block. Now here's Steinhauser. Steinhauser into the backfield. Has to do the knee slide to secure it, does Meyer. That one might leave it a little bit short. Now Schnedel going to the floor. There's no lack of commitment here from Box. Meyer, ooh, I think eyed up the DEET option for a little bit, thought better of it. Winter Artusio, she might do so. No little travel called there. Going to get herself back into position. Now down the line for Vegert. Vegert squaring up into the center of the field, finds Meyer. Really trying to open up those lateral spaces now, all the way over to the far sideline for Ninaus. Ninaus on a higher stall into a crowd of bodies. Lack of communication there.
Absolutely. Too many players underneath. We're in that space and
East block, grip it and rip it. Who cares about the height disadvantage? Just had that extra awareness. It's such classic East block there. Just, we know that that's going to come and we're expecting it. And here's another deep shot. They found the matchup again to the back of the end zone. The break side huck is so difficult to stop. And Janska makes it 6-2.
yeah, it is hard to stop if you get it off, but stopping and watching the disc fly into the hands of your defense is just, of your matchup on offense is just, yeah.
Feels bad.
Yeah. It feels like lack of energy on Buck's side. I don't want to, I try to be objective, and I'm looking at this objectively in combination with miscommunication on their side. They're just, it seems like East Block wants it more. They're cutting harder, even though Bucks are putting their bodies on the line at times. They're not giving their all. It seems like they can give one more, and they're not.
Just, the force is just too far off. You cannot afford to allow that free huck to go up, because it doesn't matter who it is for East Block. They'll put it. Believe me, they will put it. Another rolling pull. Going to draw out of the far sideline. Just a cheeky foot to stop the roll. Picked up here by Rottensteiner. Paschinger in the backfield. Lovely inside break there to Rottensteiner. Rottensteiner rips it, looking for Terror. It's going to have a little bit of hang, but Helen Terror's always favourite to get there. Terrorising defenders yet again.
That was a beautiful put by Rottensteiner. She has it in her arsenal, that big backhand. She never throws it though, and I love to see that she does now. And that was just on the money for Box, and I also think that's exactly what they needed, a 2-pass offense.
Yeah, just put the pressure back onto the East Block O-line, especially after you've been having a little bit of struggles, a few turnovers, just thinking, you know what, let's change the script a little bit here. That's a beautiful inside shot to open it up, and it leaves that break space open, and she really wrenches this huck deep. Terra, such good speed deep. The box out never gave Zaluska a chance. 6-3. They look warm.
They do. Cozy.
I think a couple of terrible monkeys we saw.
Supporting their Czech
compatriots.
Yes, thank you for that word.
That's all right.
It's been a long tournament. I'm at a loss of words.
Yeah.
Every now and again.
Yeah, it has indeed. How has it only been a weekend? Honestly.
It has been a weekend for you. It's been a week for me.
Yes, I was going to say, obviously, it's one of the organisers of Spring Break. You've had a little bit more on your plate than we have. Vavrova. Down the sideline, Doležalová. There's no real continuation there. Haveltsova wants to come into the backfield. You've got to clear that up line cut so you can free up the space for Haveltsova, who does maybe belatedly get it. Schluster now on the far side of the field. Thinking about the flick, rolling a wrist across the backhand into the end zone for the score.
East Block keeping it on that far side of the pitch and putting the huck up to the other side, going across, just works really well because it's changing the point of attack, changing the position of the Frisbee, since all players were cramped up in there. I really like that look.
Obviously, I'm not privy to what Box's plans usually are on defense, but I think I'd be getting a lot more perpendicular and around on that force, because those break backhand hucks have killed them the past few points. I know it's convincing, and maybe you see their passing, it does bite slightly on that fake, but it leaves the backhand far too open for Tlusta.
Yeah, I would really love to see them play FM. I know that has worked against East Block before, but we'll see. They'll play offense first, hopefully get a point, and then we'll show what they can do on D to stop that East Block team that hasn't really been challenged.
Yeah, East Block quite understandably in high spirits on the sideline. Rolling pool not quite so effective on this occasion. Maya will pick up just inside box half. Terra with plenty of separation underneath. Taking the flick. Backhand's not pinpoint precise, but Wolfsteiner has it and continues to Maya. Maya to the ever impressive Rottensteiner. Wolfsteiner, twice European champion with shout. Disc in her hands now. Little floaty, not a problem for Rottensteiner though. Wolfsteiner. So the inside lane there, back to Rottensteiner, there is. Bounce that cut well, and then just the simple little dish to Helen Terra. I'll put my teeth back in. Helen Terra for the score, 7-4.
I love that she faked off that first break, faked away her marker, and that put the second one in for the score, and beautiful work in the handler set from Maya and Wolfsteiner to put Rottensteiner into that position.
The spacing, I thought the offense was really good there. They gave the handlers space to do their thing, the dominate set, as you often hear it called. And this is quite an indoor style cut almost. You cut for one cone, you get the fake, you plant for the other cone, the inside throw goes nice and early. The fake there just signals, I think, to Terra that this is on, you know. And she picks up the signals and then collects the little dish for the score. Looks like we've got another timeout here on the field, so we'll squeeze the chance to rest our voices a little bit here as well. And our coverage of the women's final here at Vienna Spring Break continues on the other side.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI League. ULTILeague.net.
Vienna Spring Break continues as the rain has suddenly picked up a notch during that timeout. East Block looking to take half on box here. They're up 7-4. High catch that's well stuck by Hirschleva. Hirschleva is a little over-ambitious there. It's going to give box the chance for a break here, although they will have to go the full length of the field again.
You're rushing it just a little bit. We've seen one or the other big disc go up ill-advised, maybe a little rushed, and box will hopefully, for them, catch up on that opportunity.
See that Rottensteiner and Helen Terra have come on to play this way now as well. So just changing some of the rotations ever so slightly. Maybe sensing the pinch point in the game, Coach Morphy. High release backhand, laying out to securities Rottensteiner. And that one, again, has to be a little bit acrobatic, Pashinger. Kuna. Still count rising. Can Kuna find a way through? She could not. And Hadova was there just being that block and barrier in the way. She picks up, fakes at the first option. Looking downfield. Oh my word, I was not expecting her to attempt that throw. Kramer evidently was because she picked it up. Oh, that was tipped, I think, and collected by another East Bloc defender. That's what, the third point block they've got this game? Such menaces on the force. Doležalova looking infield, trying to get a bit of throw and go movement and action. Terra's sitting slightly in that space. Haveltsova collects a lateral reset, bouncing it back this way now. Towards the break side, Lister this time just fakes the backhand. See, she's got strapping on those on the ring finger and pinky finger on her right hand. Lister just outside the end zone, going for the aggressive break, and it's a little too aggressive, too far out in front of Doležalova.
Yeah, they've been working it down that break side beautifully, and then in the last second got too happy about the open player and put it out too far in front. I love the matchup between Kramer and Pluster, because the two are of similar size and speed, and I don't think I've seen too many people who challenge Pluster, and Kramer is not managing 100%, but close at
She's
times.
helping to minimize the impact slightly. Nice gainer down the line. Instantly recognizable by the pink headband is Rottensteiner. Whistles that one past the defender. Continuation towards the break side. Good communication there. As Kramer leaves that one for Terra. Terra put a bit of float underneath it. And actually, Pashinger did very well. Knew that she didn't have to commit. She wrenches this throw a little bit. Awkward grab. Not a problem for Helen Terra, though. Kuna. Back to Terra. Still count just beginning to tick over. A little dish off will reset it. Now continuing across the end zone. Wide, wide open is Kramer. And that is a break for box. Boy, they needed that before half.
They really did, and they managed to get it with loads of work defensively and offensively, and that was just beautiful stuff from box, and great stuff from East Bloc as well, pushing on defense. And
East Bloc had a couple of opportunities near the end zone. Couldn't make either of them stick, and this time box made them pay.
Took some magic from Helen Terra.
There we are, just a little backhand dish off, and then looking up, I mean, must be some sort of communication breakdown, a glitch in the East Bloc matrix to leave Kramer quite so wide open.
I think they have been trying to poach and switch a little bit, have East Bloc, and maybe getting a run through here and there. Sometimes you forget about someone. Pity if you forget about Kramer, who's really good at finding those spaces.
So having conceded the break, East Bloc with another opportunity to take half here. Tlister. A little bit of space on that far sideline for Hirschlova with the red sleeves. Favrova. Back to Hirschlova. Moving it well horizontally. Faking the around to get that little space inside. Give go, 1-2ing. Shvetsova. Haveltsova. That one, a slightly weird release. What the heck? How did Hadova get that? She continues to Dolezhalova for the goal. I mean, hand speed that would make a magician blush.
Absolutely. As I said, Tara was putting on some magic tricks. So is Hadova with that grab. It was a disc was deflected and she got it upside down. And then she put it into space for a wide open receiver.
Thank God we've got the replay available. I mean, that's like sleight of hand that Penn and Teller would be proud of. It's unreal. Unreal. The upshot of it is East Block taking half, 8-5. There's no half-time gap, essentially. You mirror the outcomes at the start of the first half, which essentially means that East Block are pulling to box from the right-hand end zone, as they would have been anyway.
They're up 2 breaks, which makes the side right and gives box offense as they score to take half.
So just over 50 minutes into this game, first to 15 or time cap at 80 minutes. Feels like there's a lot of Czech support in the YouTube chat, I imagine because all of the Viennese supporters are probably here in the stadium.
I'm pretty sure there are some parents watching at home that didn't want to come out.
Can't say I blame them either. The throw's a little bit behind. Pashinga reached out an arm, couldn't reel it in. Early break chance in the second half. Kotrobova. Rising stool, rolling the wrist around, a little bit of air, gets enough shape to get it into Zaluska's arms. Mashkova finds herself with a little bit of space, wants to zip it into the end zone, and does so as well. Goal signaled. Break to start the second half from East Block, 9-5.
Great flow from East Block there to get that disc into their own end zone quickly. That up to line shot at the beginning of that possession was actually covered, but she managed to put it over for the defender into a position where only the receiver could catch that disc, and I think that's something East Block have done very well with a bit of luck and a lot of body control.
Yeah, that's a good reaction snag there by Urbankova. And I want to point out that up the line throw that you mentioned. It works, A, because it's got enough outside in shape, B, it's got enough air underneath it, and C, the throw goes up early enough that it means that by the time the defender's there, they're already on the wrong side. There's all our wonderful ULTI.TV crew, looking dry, sort of.
Well, I'm dry.
There's Handsome Rob, looking more like Dampson Rob. That wasn't my best work, I'm sorry.
You're trying, we appreciate the effort.
Look, I will give effort, even if the puns are terrible. I will still make an effort to put them in. Maya's going to pick up here for box. Nice isolation in the center, clearing out a lot of space to Seiler. This is what I knew back in the day as a German offense, when you get one player isolated in the center and they transition into the red zone set effectively down the line for Maya for the score.
Sliding catch for Maya up the line in the end zone, and I actually love that play. Isolating one player, giving them a lot of space, and you was throw a lot of room to put that disc into, and then having many different options of continuation of that.
Yeah, Kuhn just comes close to the sideline but keeps herself in bounds. And then the flick down the line. Too far out in front for the defender. And Maya collects the goods for the score. Game quite nicely poised, I think, here. 6-9 the score.
East Block with a comfortable lead.
Yeah, if Box are going to retain their title, then they've got a little bit of work to do, certainly.
Yeah, they really have to pick up speed and energy a little bit.
But a rain-soaked women's final at Vienna Spring Break.
Nothing new.
I feel like Box might have been in this situation before.
Yeah, but that was the other way around.
It was Box were in front and then Troubles pushed it all the way back before Box saw it out in the end. I seem to remember someone having a really nice layout late in that game.
Oh, who was that?
Can't remember. Might have been Corey on co-coms. Here's Sluster. Into... Oh! That was ugly but effective.
Friendly fire.
Hadova. Back to Doležalova. Vavrova. Just resetting. Giving their handlers room to work. Really pinged that one at Talister. She elevates to make the catch, and now the inside break. Talister getting it back just in front of the end zone. Again, they're keeping that mark of Pashinga. High around, well caught by Vavrova. And just suckers the force into coming too far across to worry about that reset. It opens up the space for the backhand break, and it's 10-6.
East Block have so much control in their stack. They isolate players at the right time and always find an open option to move the disc laterally from one side to the other in front of their opponent's end zone. And they wait for the right score. Now we saw the different ideas in the early stages of this game, but they've cleaned it up nicely and are just running around with those box defenders. Beautiful put into space.
East Block in control of this game. But we know that Box can generate turnovers, especially as the elements, again, pick up a little bit more. Heavens have fully opened. Is there a good Austrian idiom for heavy rain? Like cats and dogs?
It's raining out of buckets, I think is one.
We'll go with that. Here's the put from Seiler down the sideline. And it's too far outside as well.
Yeah, miscommunication, I believe, with Ninaus, who was doing that continuation cut, but cut it off a bit early.
Kotrobova's going to get a chance to walk that fairly long way down the field. Another beverage has appeared on our table. Wonder where that came from. Shout out to the wonderful tournament staff and volunteers here at Vienna Spring Break. Thoroughly loved being back again this year after our debut at the tournament last year. Oh, nearly the run through block there from Ninaus. Lepshi to Kotrobova. She might put this, you know, she does, but it's got a lot of angle on it. And over everyone and dished in for the goal. Zaluska wasn't fooled by all the traffic. Everyone sucked underneath the disc and happy to just wait and bide their time and pop it into the end zone for the score. Another East Block break, 11-6.
Zaluska got the best read on that disc. Everyone ran underneath it, but she knew there was a little bit of wind with it and positioned herself better. Watched the box defenders crumble underneath her, and she just waited for the disc to jump into her hands.
Yeah, the intended target there is that's Koblishkova, who ended up kind of being the meat in a box sandwich. But hey, she drew the 2 defenders and allowed Zaliska to pick it up behind.
And she did get the score in
And
the
then
end.
she did pop it to Klobishkova for the score in the end anyway.
Just as they drew it up.
Sure, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, we will.
I mean, I have no evidence to the contrary, to be fair, so. Rottensteiner fields the ball from the floor. First pass is to Pashinga. Getting Terra clearing out of that isolated space in the center. Inside break there. Finds Kramer. There's the wind up. There's the put to Terra. And you kind of feel like anytime they want it, that Rottensteiner to Terra connection is bang on.
It has developed over the weekend, and it's just, yeah, spot on, bang on, whatever you want to call it. It works, and it's beautiful. That perfect put sitting in the end zone, waiting for Terra to grab it with 2 hands. See the replay now, Rottensteiner, the big wind-up.
Yeah, there's maybe a little bit of baggage about the throw. It's quite a slightly choreographed, expressive wind-up maybe. But when the disc comes out like that, I think you forgive it.
Yeah. We can deduct style points, but it won't change the result.
It will certainly not. So, 11-7 or 7-11 as our colleague Stef Pazzo would say.
Slurpee time.
Slurpee time. A reference that is slightly lost on me because we do not have 7-11s in the UK. And there's a rarity. A drop from Tlusta.
Box with one of the rare opportunities to get a break.
Will they be firing up Seamus's beloved break chicken? Maybe not.
Not on this occasion.
You might have seen the break chicken in the other games Box have played on stream this weekend. Milan's dog took a liking to it while he had custody of it until this weekend. Tlusta being marked by Terra. Getting the disc around, breaking towards the far sideline. Paveltseva's got no mark. But East Block can't make the most of it. Eventually, everyone's back into position, and it's now in the hands of Hadovar, and Terra guns through and gets the block on Tlusta.
Terra special waiting, giving you the opinion that you were open, but then running from behind and smacking away that disc.
Utilizing those long arms well. Not the tallest figure, but got a wide wingspan, and she uses it.
Nothing from the box stack.
That's a clever break to release pressure and get things into gear to Strida. Here's Terra opening up and gunning it. And I think maybe could have just done with a little bit more finesse on it because Freiman couldn't catch up.
She tried really hard, and we've seen her lay out one or the other time this game, but this one just too far out in front. We'll give the disc back to East Block.
Going to be a slightly protracted walk to the disc with everyone else a fair way away from it. Eventually Hadovar will get there and just calmly stride to the front. Tlusta's activated, catches it tight to this sideline, breaks it off. That one, oh, hello, I love that one. What an inside break. Paveltseva to Tlusta. The tempo picks up, but Box do a very good job of keeping a lid on it. So often that fast break is devastating, but they contained it well. Poach off there, well recognized, Shvetsova. To Haveltseva. Low inside to Tlusta. Dishing it off again, Haveltseva might put this, putting the air underneath it, but picking the match up well. And Doležalova makes it 7-12.
I think we've seen that before. Doležalova in the end zone, and the box player just misreading it by the slightest bit. That put for the tall frame of Doležalova works out for them.
There's nothing wrong with knowing your matchups, I think. There's a slightly well-worn looking rainbow umbrella that's made its way onto the field for East Block. I must admit at this point I'm not sure how much good it's doing, but
a little bit.
Here's the put again. Just maybe a bit more aerial than Haveltsova would have liked, but I mean Doležalova reads it really well, so Sila's just getting a bit underneath it, and when the disc is right above you, it's so tricky to get a hand in it.
That's true, she did have position there, but just not quite timed that jump right.
Yeah, you can't teach tool, which I've learned at various points. Here's a zone now from East Block. Just giving box another problem to solve. Nienaus and Maya just playing it between themselves in the backfield at the moment. 4 up front, 2 in the middle, and 1 patrolling deep for East Block. They've got a lot of bodies committed into the front of this zone, so if they can find a way to get beyond it, there's really room to work. That one, oh, I nearly sold her short. Really good catch, that one by Steinhauser. Nienaus, ooh, floats this one slightly. Steinhauser again comes up with the goods.
Great read from her. Never gave up her position, which is really important in situations like that.
1 low catch, 1 high. Really making her presence felt on this possession. Schnedel. Cheeky, the blade over the top. That opens up the space. Maya down the sideline to Nienaus. And sometimes you do have to get a little bit creative against those zones. Weigh up the risk-reward, because if you get it right, you really do crack things open, and that allowed the continuation hunt for the score.
Yeah, they did really well to have 2 players in the same space and have the defense commit to one of them, and then those players lashing out and that open hook for the box score. I also love that East Block is switching up their defense a little bit to give them a new riddle to solve, to maybe get another break and another one.
And another one. But also as well, it's a long season. We're still only in May. There might come a time when, you know, the conditions, maybe it's not quite as wet as this, but it's even windier, and you've got a team that's dealing with matchup particularly well. So you know, you think, oh man, I wish we'd practiced that zone more in the early season.
Absolutely, and back in Padova 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, East Block really killed box by playing that zone. To be fair, it was rather windy.
But you played to the conditions. There's the deep shot. They found Talista streaking beyond the defender. Up to level with about the attacking brick mark. Herschlova to Haveltsova. Talista fakes that one, doesn't like it. It's a little pass there to Haveltsova. Few meters out, and just a little jab step gets Terra backpedaling slightly, and it opens up the narrowest window, and Haveltsova threads the needle for the score. 2 points away from victory now are East Block, 13-8.
It took box so long to catch up on defense. East Block were running off to their own end zone, their opponent's end zone. The matchups were found super late, just right in front of that line, where they could contain for a little bit, just not enough.
The first 4 points in this game took about 20 minutes. Since then, it's gone at a real rapid pace. Although we wouldn't get close to the cap at that point, but with a little over 10 minutes left here, I think East Block are probably going to hit the 15.
Or box comes back.
Well, I was going to say, if they don't, well, we're in for a hell of a comeback.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't necessarily put it beyond box.
I've seen crazier things.
Oh, I've seen 100% crazier things.
Well, before we talk about breaks, we have to talk about holds.
You do indeed. You can't get the break train rolling without leaving the offensive station. Also, trains don't really roll. Never quite understood the... Anyway, we'll move on. Schnedel to Meyer. Vegert. Back to Schnedel. Doesn't like this one towards the near sideline for Steinhauser. Will eventually take it. Schnedel. To Steinhauser. Two of them just happily popping it between one another. On the far sideline is Winter Artuzio. Steinhauser a step in from the sideline. Now Schnedel. Box seem to have the zone figured out today. Schnedel just giving a little bit more instruction. Trying to create a bit more lateral movement with the positioning of Steinhauser. Schnedel picks a moment to crash through that cut. Meyer. This is really patient. But as the field shrinks and compresses, can they still continue to find those gaps? Schnedel, all the way across to Meyer. Steinhauser, back to Schnedel. What, a step away from the end zone now? Thought she was maybe going to pop to Meyer. Steinhauser instead, no, back to Meyer. Need to make sure that you just don't get end zone eyes here. You continue to just pop it around. Trust that the space in the end zone will eventually open up. And there it is. Schnedel to Vega for the score, 13-9.
They were super patient on offense. And these Buck cup, or line of defenders rather, didn't really put a lot of pressure on the throwers, but rather prevent them from moving beyond that first line of defenders, which they did very well. And in those conditions, having to take 100 passes is what is probably the aim of that zone, and that's what they did really well. In the end, it goes to Bucks, this 1 point, but I do think there was a lot of brain energy used.
It's partly, you know, it's a numbers game really, isn't it? You can give someone a 50-50 shot, or you can say we'll have you make 95% shots, and that all adds up. Well, multiplies up. I gave up maths a good few years ago now.
Bring the chicken home. What do we say to that?
I think Seamus will be disappointed.
I bet.
Here's Sluster. Hirschlova. Haveltsova. Looking downfield, there's no separation there yet. Isolating the reset, who powers up line. Throw goes out early enough in front of Hadovar. Coach on the far sideline, marshalling the troops. Shvetsova. Haveltsova, looking a little bit isolated back there. Takes on the break, nails it to Shvetsova. Back to Haveltsova, happy to go every other at the moment. Shvetsova doesn't want the break on that occasion. Talista comes into the backfield. Haveltsova again. Still count must be rising, but able to just dish that one off to Vavravar in the dump. This is good red zone defense. From box, it forces the high throw and the turn.
So much patience from East Block, but Box putting the pressure on, and the stack is just waiting for the opportunity that never came because all the East Block players were covered.
10 minutes of the game left. Rottensteiner. Paschinger clears out, comes back into the backfield. Looking for the aggressive break round to Rottensteiner. She might put this, it's not there. Instead, the easy under to Helen Terra. And look, Helen Terra could get free from pretty much anyone, but that is extremely free, suspiciously almost, and there has been a pick. Talista with the number on her gloves gets back into position and we're underway. What a layout that one is from Paschinger. Rotzensteiner. Dumped off to Paschinger. Paschinger to Ninaus, but it's too far out in front despite the diving attempt. Talista this time jogs over it. Everyone jogs over it. Hadovar's going to go into the backfield and pick up.
They need that second to breathe in East Block at midfield.
Faking the deep, not wanting it on this occasion. Jinking and driving in the backfield and freeing herself up is Hadovar, despite the close attention of Ninaus. Again, looking a little bit passive downfield, our East Block. Talista takes on the break, finds it to Herveltseva. That's a nice continuation here. Herschlova. Herveltseva is the dump option, and Herveltseva commits and secures. All of a sudden, Box have flipped a switch defensively. Inside break goes to Vavrova. Vavrova inside to Talista. Dished off back to Hadovar. Czechs now getting a little bit of forward momentum. They're finding those break side spaces. Herveltseva thought about the put to Doležalova, but puts it back in the locker, and that is, I think, a foul. Accepted very quickly by Annika Wolfsteiner.
Caught a bit of that disc while moving her hands around.
Herveltseva doesn't want the break. Oh, she does. A little bit late. Zings it in there, and the continuation. And is that the penultimate point for East Block within one of the VSB title? 14-9.
Well, it is the penultimate point for East Block. Probably. Or the
Probably,
ultimate.
but you never know.
We were at this exact score before, last year, in favor of Box. 14-9.
And that ended on Universe, right?
It did. Troubles, who we saw in the semi-final, came back to make a Universe, and we know how that ended with a Box finish. And this time around, East Block seem in the driver's seat absolutely dialed in. And Box turned a switch on defense, but still East Block just ran over them.
Yeah, it looks like the box office might be sold out at the moment. And East Block are the starring attraction.
Indeed, they are.
It is cold and wet and damp out there.
They still got all the energy. Do East Block.
Not a surprise, really, when you're within one of the win. Can Box find some energy of their own? Schneider uses her physicality to create a bit of separation. Goes wide to Vegert. Caught the previous point for Box. Vegert, oh, that one came out all wrong.
Good effort from Sauer to get that layout in.
Lepschi continuation to the end zone. Zitova for the win. East Block are the Vienna Spring Break 2023 champions, defeating Box 15-9 in the final. And I think you have to say, over the course of the tournament, it's a thoroughly deserved win.
Absolutely, it really is, and it has shown in the final as well. Both teams made a valiant effort, but East Block, as I just mentioned, they were in the driver's seat. They were ready to go, dialed in, and they just played better than Box did in that final. There will be more meeting points of those two at some point this season, but the way East Block have been playing and have been showing us to play Ultimate, it's impressive, really.
Yeah, and for such a kind of a young program, a young squad, to be making such an impact early season as this, that's one to look out for, not just at EUCF later in the year, but just going forward. Czech Women's Ultimate looks to be in a very good place at the moment, I think, Christina. You know, some of the old guard not around this year, so showing that it doesn't look like there's certainly going to be a gap in quality in their absence.
And just imagine 3SB and East Block combining to play as a Czech national team. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can cook up at EUC this summer.
Me too. Me too. For Box, you know, again, not coming out with the win this time, but getting to the finals, knocking off some tough teams on the way as well. Obviously, there's going to be disappointment in that huddle, but here's the replay of the final point. There's still a lot they can take from this weekend, Christina.
Absolutely, a lot of young talent played with the Box squad, trying to integrate themselves, and I think they did well. The team did well to integrate new players.
Yeah, and that is that for here at Vienna Spring Break. We are done and dusted. There is just the final presentation for the women's division to go, and then everyone can mercifully get themselves out of the rain and pack up. Huge shout out to all our wonderful ULTI.TV crew, to Milan, Rob and Lucia. Just the three of them manning the cameras and the desk this weekend, and they have done a phenomenal job braving the elements for you, as they always do. The wonderful big man, Stef Pazzo, sitting behind us at the back of the booth as well. There's Rob, who looks actually looks in pretty good spirits, remarkably, but then he always seems to have a smile on his face. Milan helming the crew, as ever, and Lucia, who you probably won't see because she's behind cam too, but doing a fantastic job. You can see Stef there wearing his VSB snood. And of course, Christina and I in the booth. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you Vienna Spring Break this weekend. And if you need more of an ultimate fix, well, you can go back and watch the games from all of this weekend live and for free on our YouTube channel. You can watch all of the games from this season, not just this event, but for free on our YouTube channel. So make sure, if you want to get notified about when we go live, you can like, subscribe. There's a bell you can ring for notifications. You don't actually ring it, it's just a button you push, but you know what I mean. Live.ULTI.TV to get the newsletter, to find out what we're up to as well. And if you want to support more free coverage of Ultimate, then the way to do that is to put your money where our mouths are. Patreon.com/ULTI.TV, ULTI.TV as well, for as little as a bottle of beer a month, or a Wiener Schnitzel, as Steph might say. You can help us grow the growth. Grow the growth? Tautology time. You can help us grow the spread of Ultimate worldwide. It's been a long weekend. For all of our ULTI.TV crew, for Stef Pazzo, and for the wonderful Christina Obermeyer, Benji Reese saying we will see you on the other side in a fortnight's time for the Elite Invite.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member
and
fund
our work to cover more events in the future, and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV, ULTI.net.
My mom and I made a cookbook. Traditional recipes passed down through the generations.
They cater very well to modern kitchens.
Our recipes come from all over Italy, primarily from Le Marche and Sicily, where my parents come from. Two of the best culinary regions.
All the regions of Italy have their own signature food.
Buying this book will make you smarter and better looking.
Mannaggia Stefano, just promote the book.
Just search Mama's Italian Classics anywhere you can buy books online and get your hands on a copy.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
Thanks. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
ULTI.TV.
I don't wanna talk tonight. I don't wanna waste another night. I just wanna hit the floor. Maybe somewhere I haven't been before. I don't wanna kill the vibe. I don't wanna feel it if it don't feel right. I just wanna break the ice.